Thank you, Chair. I am Bhatta, already introduced. My topics for today is wheat breeding efforts for achieving resistance to the rust in Nepal. These are the contributors for this topic. Before coming to main topic, I will briefly introduce wheat crop in Nepal. Wheat is one of the staple cereal that contributes around 26% to national food requirements. It was a minor cereal until 1960s. As a result of semi-dwarf wheat varieties introduced during mid-60s from Summit via India, the present wheat area, the wheat area has been increased by 7 times, production by 15 times, and we doubled the productivity since 1960. The wheat is being grown all over the country. Improved varieties cover more than 97% of the total wheat area of the country. We have around 0.76 million hectares of wheat area. Summer wheat is commercially grown in some high hills of the country. These are the wheat area and the production since 1960. We started with 100,000 hectares of wheat area and 100,000 metric tons of wheat production in 1960. And now we have more than 1.8 million tons of wheat production in the country with the introduction and the development and the dissemination of improved rust resistance high-yielding variety. If we look at the area production and the productivity over the last 20 years, we have an average productivity growth rate of 51 kg per year per hectare since 1992. This is a map of Nepal showing 3 distinct agroecological zones where wheat is being grown. The upper light yellow part represents the high hills, and the middle area with light green, covered with light green area is mid hills. Mid hills and high hills together contributes around 35 to 40% of total wheat area and 37% in total wheat production. The lowest dark green area represents the Indo-Gangetic plains. We call it Tarai of Nepal. That contributes around 60% of total country wheat area and more than 70% of total wheat production. Well, the mid hills and high hills is highly prone to stiff rust, and the lower plain, Tarai of Nepal, is having leaf rust and leaf blight problem. Summer wheat is being grown in the central hills of Nepal. This is a map showing wheat research network. We have research stations in the plains as well as in the mid hills and high mountains. We have 2 summer settling sites above 3,500 meter altitude. The one Marfa is a rain shadow area. We do not receive any rains during rainy season, while Jumla is having more humid and good for leaf rust as well as stripe rust screening. We have major varieties that contribute in terms of area and production. We have released recently one UG99 resistance variety, BGRI, meaning victory, in 2010, and it covers more than 5% of the wheat area right now. WK1204 and Gautam, these two varieties are stipe rust resistance and covering more than 35% of total wheat area in the hills. Birkuti, it was released in 1994 with LR26, YR9, YR18, LR34 background is still resistance to stipe rust and leaf rust, and covers more area in the plains. We have still 1 ton yield gap, what we can achieve through better management, and we have experimental yield more than 5 tons per hectare. National average is only 2.4 metric tons per hectare. Coming to major wheat diseases of economic importance, in Nepal, the stipe rust is being the #1. We faced several rounds of epidemics during several decades. The most devastating one is in 2005, when we lost almost 50 to 80% wheat area in wheat production in stipe rust prone area in the mid hills. When we have a spike infection, we could see the grains, small size grains without endosperm. Second one is leaf rust. Yield loss up to 14% have been reported, but now it is under control with the deployment of durable resistance variety with LR34 and LR26 major minor gene combinations. Leaf blight is very common in plains, lower Tarai of Nepal, and yield losses have been reported up to 28% in susceptible varieties. Now we have many varieties resistance to leaf blight. Coming to breeding methodologies, we started with the classical pedigree system from 70 to mid-80s, and from mid-80 to 2005, we switched over to more resource-efficient breeding selection system, modified pedigree bulk, and after 2005, we apply selected bulk, the most efficient breeding selection system through the exposure and CIMMYT. Coming to wheat breeding efforts in Nepal since 1960, as I said, before 1960, wheat was considered a minor cereal, covering only 100,000 hectares of wheat area with local land races. And with the introduction of high-yielding rust-resistant wheat varieties from India and Mexico, we would be able to release varieties like Lerma 52, Lerma 64, Petik 64, and Kalyan Sona with this genetic background. Coming to 70s, once we have a nationally coordinated wheat research program established in 1972, we started systematic wheat breeding research with the acquisition of valuable germplasm from CIMMYT, ICARDA, India, and other countries. We were able to release varieties with LR34, YR18 background right from 70s that help reduce the leaf rust vulnerability in the Tarai of Nepal. Coming to 80s, we release more varieties with LR34, YR18 background and some other background genes, LR13, LR23, LR26. And in 90s, more additional varieties were released, like Birkuti is one of the major contributing variety with LR26, LR34, YR18, YR9 background. It is still holding resistance with new virulences. Coming to 2000 to now, we release several varieties with new genetic background. And we have several varieties with LR34, YR18, LR46, YR29 background in the pipeline. And we already released one WK1204 with this background for the hills. We had more than 27 years of very successful collaboration with CEMIT. Once we had a CEMIT South Asia regional office established in 1995 in Kathmandu. We have a continuous germplasm supply from CEMIT and from other countries. Regional and international collaboration is strengthened. Our wheat research received several training, several people visited as a visiting scientist, higher studies, and participated in international and regional conferences and workshops. We have seed production and seed dissemination activities with the support from BGRI and USAID Famine Seed Project supported activities. Once we have an occurrence of PGT race UG99, we worked closely with BGRI and CEMIT to identify UG99 resistant varieties. Before 2008, 2009, we sent our breeding advance lines to Kenya with the help from BGRI and CEMIT, CARI. And we identified UG99 resistant varieties. We released one, and recently, last week only, we released two more stipe rust resistance and UG99 resistant varieties, and many are in the pipelines. Now we are segregating populations in Kenya. With the support from USAID Famine Seed Project, we identified UG99 resistance, also stipe rust resistance varieties, and with the help from private seed companies, we produced enough quantity of seed that was distributed through extension offices in the form of participative varietal selection and seed kits. This map is showing where the epidemics of stipe rust and leaf rust occurs during different decades. The most devastating one that we had in 2005, we had severe yield losses. Well, this is the stipe rust virulence monitoring since 1970 to 2012. We have virulence in 80s, where the most popular variety, Sonalika, becomes susceptible to stipe rust, Kalyan Sona. Then we have YR9 virulence in 1997. We have more variety diversification with other gene combinations, so yield loss were less compared to what we had in 2005 YR27 virulence. This is the situation we faced during 2005 stipe rust menace. The left side, the harvested wheat without grains, when we had spike infection, the young lady showing very reduced size grains with almost 80 to 90% yield loss. With this slide, I will speak a small story how we managed this 2005 epidemics. Well, every wheat season, wheat research program distributes free seed kits of newly released varieties and free released varieties to different extension offices, free of cost. However, the cost of transportation is covered by the extension offices. The middle person, he is from Midwestern hills. He came to me to take his seed kits for his district, and he also requested to give few kits of this variety Gautam, which is resistant to stiff frost, but released for the plains of Nepal, Tarai only. Well, he insisted, and I gave 3 seed extra kits for this variety to him, and one seed kit is enough to plant 500 square meter area. I gave 40 seed kits plus the 3 kits of this stiff frost resistant variety. He tested there, and in the same year we had via 27 virulence, and we visited different districts. Telephone calls came from different districts. Dr. R.C. Sharma, then working in Summit, Nepal, and myself visited these districts. We saw the stiff frost menace and plus the excellent performance of this variety in the district. In the coming 2006 season, Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, National Seed Authority, they called me and asked to manage the stiff frost menace during 2006 and beyond. I said we have more than 300 metric tons of seeds of this variety. It has excellent performance, so we can give this seed to the hill districts. Now this variety along with WK1204 is covering almost 35% of wheat area, and there is no further new virulence to stiff frost. Coming to leaf rust, we have less yield damage, although we have several leaf rust virulences during several decades due to variety diversification. Well, this slide shows how off-season rust survives on barberry and mahonia. We have yet to confirm whether this mahonia and barberry whether it is stiff rust or steam rust. How this slide shows how the off-season rust survives on summer wheat. This right slide, looking rust samples at seedling stage in summer wheat is often intercropped with maize, and then we collected rust samples during maturity. Dr. Singh from Directorate of Wheat Research from India also participated in the rust survey team. Now we are distributing resistance varieties to summer wheat growing area. This is the possible pathways of rust survival in Nepal. We have July to October, we have summer wheat, then normal wheat is planted right from October to late December, depending on altitude. We have rust together in barberry leaves and normal wheat during February to April, and then it goes to May to July. We have yet to confirm what rust it is. We sent live sample to Minnesota. Dr. Eugene may have some answers if they have analyzed these samples. This is how we deliver our improved varieties to extension offices. We have private seed companies, NGOs, farmers groups. This is how we disseminated our stiff rust and UG99 resistant variety through participatory varietal selection into different districts of the country. Once farmers, they select a variety, they form seed production groups, and they produce seeds and sell themselves among farmers. This is another view how we empower farmers in PBS technologies to select best one and second best out of 7 to 8 varieties given to them in PBS. This is farmer researcher interaction to manage rust using resistance varieties, and this is a polyhouse where we do seedling screening against stiff rust and leaf rust contributed by Summit South Asia office. Well, we had this is my final slide. We had 4 decades of wheat research and development activities since 1972 to until now. This has been an important era for wheat research and development in Nepal. The major achievements during this period that we have is a creation of a systematic and a nationally coordinated wheat research program. Leaf rust is kept under control with the utilization of durable resistance varieties and variety diversification. Stripe rust epidemics have not been observed since 2005. Now we have a valuable germplasm from CIMMYT through BGRI and CIMMYT, Dr. Ravi Singh. And now we are using those germplasm in our breeding program. Where we have challenges, heat, climate change induced high temperatures in South Asia may reduce yield by 20 to 30% by 2030. Need to enhance genetic yield gain and produce high-yielding varieties suitable under these environments, and a need of strong regional as well as global collaboration for germplasm development to fight against deadly wheat diseases. With this, I thank you all.